I give myself only $300 to spend on groceries for an entire month. Real budget, real receipts, and no cheating. Here's exactly how it went week by week. Week 1 for me, you will always notice a much longer grocery list, and that's because I bulk buy all my meat in this first week. You'll notice that when you buy a larger quantity of the proteins that I'm purchasing, you'll see that it is a lot cheaper to buy it a lot bigger and dicing it up yourself, like with the salmon, separating the meat yourself, or using the individual chicken thighs instead of buying chicken tenders. A lot of that stuff is just quick ways that I like to save money when it comes to buying my meat, and I do all that in week 1. So you'll see some higher prices here on week 1, but it will definitely work out for the long term, I can guarantee. So this is week 1's groceries with a total of $126.11 spent, but I promise that's actually not that bad. So obviously I spent a lot for week 1 considering I only have $300 for the entire month. But the reason that we do this is because in week 1, I bulk buy all my meat. I will get out a lot of meals out of this, and it's going to be easy. So this chicken is 4 pounds. That's going to be at least 8 meals. The ground beef is 5 pounds. That's going to be at minimum 10 meals because I cook a pound at a time and meal prep it half and half. Or if I'm cooking for somebody, then it'll just be 1 pound for 1 meal, but it is what it is. So this process and the system is going to allow me to get a good amount of my portioning of meat out immediately at the start of the month, because meat is the most expensive thing that you're going to buy on your grocery bill most of the time. And so when I handle that on week 1, it's going to make my life a lot easier as we go down the road. And you're going to notice as we go through these weeks, I'm not spending a ton of money on certain weeks because there's not a lot to buy except for extra little sides that go with things like rice that's going to cost like $5 in a week, or drinks and that sort of stuff. We're not buying the most expensive parts later on in the month. We're front loading that at the start, having that bulked and set out in portions in the freezer so that as we go, life gets really easy. So admittedly, portioning the salmon is always the most annoying because the scales from the salmon get everywhere. So there's a lot of cleanup after this one. But besides that, we're really just grabbing the breast of chicken and putting it in the bag. That's the extent of portioning, and I dice it up as I go. But look at this. This is going to be a total of 8 different salmon meals. So after salmon, we're done with the cutting board because that's the only thing that really requires any sort of major effort, because the chicken is going to be just putting this straight into a bag because, like I said, I cut up the breasts when it's actually time to cook them. I don't really do anything to them now. I don't scale them down or anything like that. So that just makes that a lot easier. Now, something just to note when it comes to these meals is when I do my macros for a day, a lot of the salmons, I try to cut them in 4 ounce to 8 ounce fillets. Typically anywhere in that range is going to be enough for a good meal, a good amount of protein, a good amount of the benefits that you want to get from salmon in the first place. And of course, with this being 4 pounds of chicken, each one of these breasts is going to come out to roughly a pound, obviously, and then half of that is going to be 8 ounces per meal, which is going to be enough for the average person to eat. So a lot of this for me just works out well when it comes to my macros as well, and that's the system that I've come up with that works for me financially and from a health perspective as well. And so we have now portioned 26 individual meals for the entire month, and this is going to more than likely get me through all the meat that I'm going to need for the month, and maybe a little more sometimes, we'll see. But this is really easy, and it's something that I do at the front of the month to help me financially, time-wise, and meal-wise. So it's so worth it, and I absolutely recommend doing this. So in week 2, you'll notice also a longer grocery list, but that's because in week 2, I typically get a lot of my side stuff like bread and cheese and things that I only buy like once a month or so always come due on week 2 for some reason. The other thing I do is go to separate grocery stores when things are better priced. Kroger has the best price for maple syrup, so that's where I get maple syrup exclusively. For week 2 groceries, we spent $68.90 to just get a couple of the things that I need weekly instead of the meat prep from last week. So now that meat is handled, let's talk about vegetables. The main 4 that I like to have are Brussels sprouts, carrots, broccoli, and asparagus. These have been my 4 favorite veggies for many years now. I've always gravitated towards these. I don't exactly know why, but because of that, I have a very simple way that I like to make every single one of my veggies. And it's really easy and something simple that a lot of people can do if they want to start eating vegetables as well. And I season them all the exact same way. So this week specifically, I'm meal prepping carrots and Brussels sprouts. And the way that I season all my veggies is really easy. For Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and asparagus, I do garlic-infused olive oil and lemon pepper seasoning for every single one of them, only because lemon pepper just works really good with vegetables. It's easy. It takes one seasoning to get it sorted out, so I don't have to have a bunch. And then I just season them, mix them around in the pan, and that handles that. Now for carrots, I like to do a little bit differently. For carrots, I like to do paprika and garlic, and do garlic roasted carrots. It's not fully garlic carrots because I don't put that much effort into it, but it's garlicky enough and it's close enough for easy college meal prep, and that's what this whole thing is supposed to be. This is supposed to be budget-friendly college meal prep. And so for that, with garlic roasted carrots, I do paprika, garlic powder, salt, and once again, that garlic olive oil. And that makes this entire thing really easy. And for every single one of these roasted vegetables, I do it in the oven at 450 for 30 minutes. That recipe cooks them through every single time, and you'll always have good vegetables with every single one of your meals, which is really good and really important. And so yes, you'll see that at the start, the first 2 weeks of the month, we came off really hot. But now, my grocery list for week 3 is 4 to 5 items, and one of which is coffee, something that I'm only going to get once this month, and that sort of thing. And we're going and we're just getting juices, we're getting bread restocked, and we're getting veggies, and that's it. Because we did the bulk buying at the start of the month. Let's take a break from food to talk about beverages. In my day, I like to drink a lot of water, I like to drink a lot of juice, I like to drink some sweet tea sometimes, and I also like to drink coffee like most college students do. My coffee system, as you saw, is that I buy my own grinded beans at Sprouts. I grind them there because they have a free grinder to the public that you can use. Whole Foods has one as well. And grinding these grounds ahead of time, I do coarsely ground to make cold brew, which I'll get to in a second. But grinding these beans, if you want to be super health conscious, basically means that your coffee doesn't form any mold. Because when beans are grinded ahead of time and they sit in a store for a long time, those beans can grow mold on them, which is super dramatic, I know, but that's just kind of how that works. And I like to do cold brew because cold brew is my favorite form of coffee that I can afford right now, because I can't afford the $1,000 espresso machine just yet. You make cold brew with a picture of it, the filter for it that I will use as soon as I finish this cold brew and wash it out. And then you use these grounds that are about $18 for me, at least at my local Sprouts. I don't know how it is for you, but I get these in just plain grounds. It's breakfast blend. And then the syrup that I already talked about. This syrup is a lot more expensive than your traditional syrup, but this is pure syrup. This is from the tree, like broken down to make it into actual syrup, but it's just that. There's nothing added to it. There's nothing weird about it. And a lot of the coffee sweeteners that you're gonna find are messed up. Like if you get your Delight coffee creamer at Walmart or something, that is going to have a lot of artificial sweeteners in it. It's just not going to be very healthy for you. And to me, it makes my stomach hurt in the morning when I do have to have that at like a hotel or at my parents' house or something like that. Like that stuff doesn't feel great to me. So I personally like to use maple syrup and a little bit of cinnamon, because cinnamon's good for your heart. Not important, but when I make my coffee, I do ice, cold brew, milk, syrup, and cinnamon. So the whole system to this process is about efficiency in my mornings. I go to work at 6 a.m. 3 days a week. A lot of you guys know that I'm a fast food manager. It's just something easy for college. And I do that 3 days a week at 6 a.m., 2 days a week at mid shifts. But those 6 a.m. days, I'm up and out of here pretty quick. I don't really want to take time to have a slow, brewing coffee kind of morning. This allows me to be able to make my coffee in like 3 minutes max, get out the door. I can sleep in a little bit more because of that, and all that stuff just goes well. Now today you'll notice that I'm actually out of cold brew, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm making it. I'm just gonna make it in a little bit less today, but it is really simple and it tastes really good. Maple syrup is one of my all-time favorites in the mornings and all that sort of stuff, and so And then for making tea at the house, I use 1 cup of monk fruit sweetener. This is a natural sweetener, kind of like syrup or honey. It's just I prefer this in a sweet tea over syrup or something. That makes sense, right? And so I use this and 1 bag of Lipton tea, brew it up the way you would make tea any other way. And that is how I drink tea. I have that for dinner or something like that. So tea, juice, water, coffee. That is my drink system that keeps me healthy and hydrated, but also allows me to still be under that $300 budget each month when it comes to my drinks. And you'll notice by the time that we get to week 4, I'm buying steak because I wanted to have a nice dinner, but besides that, my entire grocery haul is just veggies and things to keep my kitchen restocked weekly. This week's total was $27.41, bringing us down to $67 still remaining for the month and only 1 week of grocery shopping left. And now for my absolute favorite mealtime of the day, breakfast. What I always have made for breakfast my entire time living on my own is oats and eggs. It's just kind of something I grew up on. When I was a kid, I stayed with my grandmother a lot growing up throughout the summer, and she always made me oats and eggs. And still, to this day, for breakfast, my favorite go-to is oats and eggs. Overall, it's about 800 calories for breakfast, which sounds a lot, but I only have 2 meals a day. And so when I have 2 meals a day, I have about 800 for breakfast, and then I have a lot more for dinner. And so it balances out to be about 2,300 to 2,500 per day, which works perfectly for me. The other main reason is because it allows me to be friction-free in the morning. Making decisions that are unnecessary in the morning can really harm your day and your brain fatigue. And so something I like to do is just make sure that I already know what I'm gonna have for breakfast. I meal plan fully, but just for this example specifically, knowing what I'm gonna have for breakfast just makes life a lot easier. I wake up every morning, I look forward to it, it's something I enjoy. And overall, it's pretty cheap because we're no longer in the bird flu. So you guys saw that I bought this thing of 60 eggs for like $8, and this is gonna last me for probably a month and a half to 2 months. And so it's incredible, it's really efficient, and it's definitely one of my highlights of the morning. So ingredient-wise, how does this actually match up to my dinners that are typically very healthy? It actually matches up very well. I do not buy the healthiest of peanut butter. Peanut butter that is healthy can get really expensive, and so I don't do that. This peanut butter is just the natural peanut butter. Then I also use the same cinnamon that I use for my coffee, and this cinnamon is just cinnamon. And then I also use raw and natural honey. You can get it at Walmart. It's not the best. There's a lot more honeys that you can get that are a lot better that are not at a Walmart, but this honey works great for me. So in my oats, I put honey, peanut butter, and cinnamon, and I mix that around. Eggs are obviously just eggs, and I've always seasoned those with just salt and pepper. That's what I grew up doing, and I really enjoy that because I think the eggs are pretty naturally seasoned, and a lot of people in the world have said that. And then oats, I get the rolled oats. They're the quick microwave ones, so they're not the best, but they're just whole grain rolled oats, so at least it's single ingredient, which is perfect. A lot of my breakfast, except for this peanut butter, is single ingredient food. So we're on the right track for eating healthy while also keeping this budget under $300. I'm gonna go enjoy my breakfast. And it's the same thing for week 5, to show that it is possible to get groceries on $300 a month as a college student. All right, so we are back to the house, and this week's grocery total is $31.11, leaving us with $14.47 left over on the grocery budget for the month. And now finally that we're in week 5, this is what 6 meals meal prepped look like, and it's week 5 and I'm still going through the meat that I bulk bought at the start of the month. The final total for the month was $285.43, so we actually did better than what the original budget was, meaning that I still had more money that I could buy for extra snacks or something like that if I wanted it back during the month. So this is what this whole thing looks like. If you'll notice, every single meal, I do a veggie, a carb, and a protein. That's just basic meals that I've always followed, and that's kind of what I grew up with, and so that's what I still do to this day. And doing the protein, carb, and veggies for all of my meals allows me to keep my macros in check, and it's a really budget-friendly option when it comes to shopping, and that's the most important part because it allows me to be healthy but also be on a college budget, meal prep for college, and have meals on campus and all that sort of stuff, and that's the whole point of this thing. And the easiest way that you could do this too is to remember 3 to 4 things about grocery shopping and meal prepping throughout a month. Number one is to give yourself a maximum amount of money that you spend each month on groceries. For me, that's $300 because that works well for me with my goals. Number two is to bulk buy your meat at the start of the month. I could not recommend more meat portioning at the start of the month because that allows you to know how much you have left to spend the rest of the month without having to worry about the most expensive grocery in that chain. The next thing is to make your meals easy to replicate, easy to do every single time. With veggies, every single veggie that I do besides carrots, I do lemon pepper seasoning, olive oil, and salt. Every single one of them. So that makes it really easy for me to put a veggie in the oven and not think about it and overthink the different types of meals. Now, of course, for an off meal, you can do more intense things, but to keep the system there, to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself budget friendly, this is the system that works. Number three is to figure out your breakfast system really easily. I love having the same breakfast every single day of the week. If that doesn't work for you, that's fine, but find you a system that works well for breakfast so that breakfast doesn't take the majority of your food costs when it comes to your monthly budget. Also, figure out your coffee, because coffee for me was something that I could spend a ton of money on if I wanted to spend it out. I could spend no money on it if I wanted to just do a Keurig every single month, because those Keurig pods last for a long time. But I hate Keurig coffee, so I wanted to splurge on the coffee side of my budget. So if there's a certain food group that you want to splurge on, that is perfectly fine. And the last thing that you can do to save money when it comes to this sort of stuff is to shop at multiple stores. That's something that I do because I'm dramatic and I try to mix and match the prices to make sure that I'm getting the best deal. If you don't want to be that dramatic, that's perfectly fine. But if you do want to save money, figure out the grocery stores in your area that you have the option of shopping at and figure out what prices are the best at each spot. For example, that's what I do with my maple syrup at Kroger. But this is the system that I use to make grocery shopping, meal planning, and eating healthy really easy and budget friendly. And if you guys want to see a full budget breakdown where I take my entire monthly income and allocate every single dollar, click right here.